All right, I wanted to give you some perspective on something we covered in another video regarding alternator upgrades for the Aerostar aircraft, particularly when you are running electric air conditioning, especially in a hot climate like in the south or the southwest, and some of the challenges that you run into with alternators. So first of all, here on the bench is an original Aerostar alternator. This thing's rated at 70 amps but limited to 55 amps continuous. So the limitation of this legacy alternator is that it cannot generate, at idle RPM, it cannot generate the required current to run the electric air conditioner. To get enough current out of this thing, you have to rev up the engines to minimum of 1500 RPM, but in my experience it takes a little bit more than that, and that would force you to ride the brakes, which has a whole nother ball of issues there that are not good. So if you're running the electric air conditioner a lot on the ground, these alternators really need to be upgraded. They just don't have the capacity that you need. Next, we have the National Air Parts alternators, which actually the company ran out of business as of the recording of this video. But the challenge with this alternator, this is just the rotor and the stator that's out of the alternator, it would generate enough capacity at idle RPM to run the electric air conditioner. But just like the original legacy alternators, there were no internal cooling fans. There was just an external cooling fan similar to this that was on the front of the alternator, but it just wasn't enough. So within 200 to 300 hours, these stator windings turned black on both engines, both alternators, so we had to replace them. So the National Air Parts just doesn't have the internal cooling necessary for regular use of the electric air conditioner on the ground. That's why we had to go to the plain power alternator, manufactured now by Hartzell, because it was a 150 amp alternator with dual internal cooling fans that did a much better job of internal cooling, as well as at 150 amps it was really just loafing. So that was, in our case, the only option that was viable. In this installation, the plain power voltage regulators replaced the original regulators, and the original overvoltage relays, which were mounted here, were replaced or eliminated because that function is built into the plain power voltage regulators.